Hello. Phoebe.
Go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah, I just remembered I need to press.
Yes, I have. Jeff Horvath, he is on our committee as the new club extension chair. And so Naomi has a big job for us to bring in a lot of new clubs. So we need all the help that we can get. And we are here to learn from Benson. We were asked to be present to learn from Benson. So I am looking forward to this evening. So thank you very much.
All right. All right, that's cool. Thank you, Nalani. And like I said, I'm not really the trainer tonight. I'm just the person that's going to start the conversation. And it's these guys that have been at it a long time who know a lot more about it than me. But I'm going to start the ball off. I've got a short presentation to kind of run through here. And we're going to talk about some new ideas in membership. So here we are from the beginning. Let's see. How's that? Can you guys see that? Okay, so I'm gonna, right. So this is some new membership ideas, and basically from you know, moving around the district in the few years that I've been Rotarian, and I think I just made 5 years now. I've talked with you know, a bunch of different people about their ideas on membership. I've heard a lot of things about membership. So I put together some ideas about it, and then we're gonna switch them around when I get done here. Okay, so membership has always been the lifeblood of Rotary. And I remember when I first got into Rotary, they told me that that membership was really the answer to any problem that you had in Rotary was to get more members. And although I sort of saw where that was going, I didn't actually believe that it was the the solution to every problem. But I could see how it could help in a lot of ways. And so when I got in a traditional way where you know, I was invited to come to a luncheon, just like these people. In fact, the guy that's sitting in the forefront, who's Keith Greer, is now on our leadership line, and to the right of him is my sister Lonnie. And Keith became a member because my sister invited him to lunch. Coincidentally, that's how I became a member, because my sister said, "Hey, you want to have lunch?" And then I showed up, and there were 50 other people in the room. So you know, I thought we were gonna, you know, talk about my mom or something, but we ended up. I ended up becoming a Rotarian, so, which was a good thing. All right. Okay. So now, since a lot of us aren't really having meetings anymore, so we got to be more creative, you know, in ways in which we can get people to become members. So now we're, you know, people are saying, okay, well, if we have service events, and this is one of the service events, yeah, we served a luncheon for the Relay for Life people. That's one creative idea you might be able to utilize as you're thinking about ways in which you can attract more members. But I tell you, what we saw in our club is that unless the whole club decides we're going to take on this sort of this culture of growth where we're all going to work on it together, it's really difficult if you're the membership chair or you're the president and you think that you're going to grow the club just by yourself, or maybe you and one other person. It can still go, because if you're a, you know, charismatic person like Connie, where people are, you know, naturally attracted to you, it's really hard not just to bring members in, but to keep them in there. So your board and your club has to be committed to it. So you have to sort of have the conversation about, okay, gang, if we're going to grow the club, then it's going to take the village. It's going to take all of us to do it, because, you know, as you know, and if you've been in Rotary long enough, you can see that People can come in sometimes, they're there for a little bit, and then they leave because they can't stick unless your club adopts a culture of growth where we're all going to work on this together. Right. So one of the things that we started doing is to make a list of people that we thought would be good Rotarians. And so it's not like, I don't want to slam Amway, but, it's not like this is not like a network marketing thing where you make a list of everybody you've ever seen in your entire life. It's people like if everybody in the club came up with one name of one person who they thought would be a really great Rotarian, then you have a sort of a short list of people that you can work with, right? And usually, I mean, if you've been a Rotarian even for a short amount of time, you basically have an idea of what it takes to be a good Rotarian. Somebody that's a good citizen, somebody that has the time to do it, somebody that wants to serve their community, somebody that wants to be part of a group that's doing something. So in my world, that would be like a smaller sector of people. Wouldn't be every single person that I know. So make a list. That'll be really helpful. And then you reach out to basically the top prospects of that list, and you just contact them. And tell them. Like we tell them straight up, hey, our board got together, we made a list of the top 20 people that will make a great addition to our club, and you were on the list. And so a lot of people would actually be pretty flattered by the fact that they were on somebody's list, I mean, in a good way, right? That they were on somebody's list and that somebody reached out to them, hopefully a friend, somebody they know, that would talk to them about it. All right, so what do you do after you contact them? All right, now Naomi first said, hey, let's make this like how do you about sales, right? How do you sell memberships? And because it's like the sales process, but honestly, in 45 years in the sales business, what I know is that people do not want to be sold. Okay, people want to be engaged. All right, so your people that are on your list or the people that you're thinking about, because right now, as you're sitting there right now, you're thinking about people in your head. Oh, John, he would be a great Rotarian. Or, I should call up Linda. She'd be a fabulous Rotarian. So they want to be engaged. They don't want to be sold. All right. So lots of ways to do it. You can engage them in fundraisers, in service projects, in vocational projects, in social events, in in-person meetings, right? In online meetings. So you think about the people that you work with, people that are your neighbors, people that maybe you go to church with. And so now, as you engage people, all right, and they're not members yet, but they're coming and they're participating in your service projects, which is a really great one, or your social or events or your fundraisers. They're asking themselves questions, right? And this is what they're asking themselves. They're asking themselves, do I like these people? And you think, well, that's a pretty simplistic question, but it really is going to come down to that. Do I like these people? Okay. Do the projects make me feel good about myself and what I'm doing? Is this a good use of my time? Okay. Is it worth the money? And can I see myself doing this? Okay. They're asking questions in their head because they're trying to size it up like, okay, I mean, obviously I could be part of this group, but honestly, they have to like you guys. They have to feel like, wow, they're fun, they're engaging, they're interesting. I seem to fit really well with them. They're going to ask themselves questions. And the answer to all of those questions, because you can answer all those questions, like this woman is sitting in the chair, my sister's classmate, Margaret Stanley. Okay, now when we were talking to her about Rotary, she was asking these questions. And the way in which, actually that's my wife standing above her, And how all those questions got answered is my wife told her a Rotary story. And I told her my Rotary story, and my sister told her her Rotary story. And what is your Rotary story? Your Rotary story simply is how you got involved in Rotary and why you're still in Rotary. Now, I know that sounds like it's a pretty simple thing, but if you've been in Rotary a while and you've had that Rotary moment where something happened and it changed everything for you, and you saw that in your head now, wow, I think I could do this for a long time. I see myself being a Rotarian for life. All of that is packed into your Rotary story. So one of the things that we don't do enough in Rotary is to tell a Rotary story. Okay, so as you're engaging people and they're starting to become familiar with you and your group and the things that you do, the best thing that could happen is that people in the club start telling the Rotary story. Yeah, I remember 3 years ago, I was sitting at a table just like you, and I was wondering what was going on here. But now 3 years later, wow, it's totally redefined my life. I remember, and some of you know David Hurd, right? Longtime Rotarian, and he's retired now, but I sat next to him in a meeting, probably the second meeting I ever attended. And, and he introduced, hey, I'm David, and I'm Benson. And then I said, well, so David, how long have you been in Rotary? And he told me like 9 years or something. And so I said, well, how has it been for you? And he looked me square in the eye and he said, it's changed my entire life. And when somebody says that to you, it's changed my entire life, you like put your fork down and you start saying, wow, okay, well, something big must have happened. And then, David did all of the foreign exchange students. Okay, so he saw the impact of Rotary all over the world. He was foundation chair, so he had a really good in-depth understanding of what Rotary was. And after he told me his story, it had a super big impact on me. And it helped me to make a decision in terms of, wow, do I want to be part of this? Now, as you want to attract more people, every club is now thinking about doing different kinds of things. You're going to have a regular meeting, you're going to have a hybrid meeting, what are you going to do, all right? So our club decided we're going to do one in-person meeting a month, and then we're going to have one online meeting a month at our regular time, which is Tuesday at noon. And then a satellite club, and we're going to do a satellite club meeting Wednesdays at 5:30. And then on the fourth week, we're going to have either a social, a service event, or a vocational event. Now, to do all of that, I mean, the creativity is really, people say, wow, that's super creative. Okay, so what it's going to involve is we got to be in constant communication with our membership, because people just cannot remember all of those different things, especially if it's a lot of variety. Because we have members, that are in their 80s, and they've been used to doing it the same way every single Tuesday at noon for 50 years or more. So, okay, so you gotta be communicating with your folks here. Okay, now I want to talk about satellite and passport clubs. A couple of years ago, actually, when Wynn was district governor, we launched the first satellite club in Hilo in our district. And so we created this it was a little handout, a little card that says Hilo has a new Rotary Club. And on the back of it, there was information about it. And our membership team basically walked almost the entire city and just handed them out. And so in the first meeting of our satellite club, I think we had 35 or 40 people just came that were interested. I mean, a lot of them came from the other clubs. Hilo Club guys came, the Hilo Bay Club guys came, our guys came. So it was pretty widely supported in our area. And then I think May in May of 2018, I think Wynn presided over our chartering that club. I think I think we needed 8 to charter, and we chartered with 13. So that's an idea. Now, a satellite club is different than a regular club. It is a kind of a associate, like a sub club of the main regular club. It still operates under the same bylaws. It typically meets at a different time. A satellite club doesn't have a president. It has a chairperson, and then a secretary. And our satellite club met twice a month. And they usually, like, we had a fee schedule that was a little less than our regular club schedule. So, but they participated in all of our service projects and basically came to our Christmas party, all that stuff. A passport club it's basically, I don't know if we have very many passport or if we have any passport clubs in our state, but they're primarily a club that is focused on service, meets online most of the time, gets together like in some clubs like once a quarter, pretty infrequently. So there's some ideas, like if your club meets, like our club meets Tuesday at noon. Now, Tuesday at noon is not a bad time if you're retired or if you have the time, or you can just walk away from work for an hour and a half or 2 hours. But it's not a convenient time for a lot of people. So the Wednesday at 5:30 was a good time for passport people, or for the satellite people to show up. And plus, of course, we would have it at some place where, they had alcoholic beverages, so that kind of helped out too. So, that's an idea that you might want to think about as you're thinking about different ways to attract people. We also had a brochure, and we would like reprint this every year and, plug in different pictures in here. It was like a trifold brochure, and we would hand out to any new people that would be attending our meeting, any prospects. So that's something I know a lot of you guys already have collateral material. There's also a ton of stuff. If you go to Rotary Brand Central, has a ton of stuff that you can use that you can customize for your club. I liked, one guy showed up, and we hadn't seen it before in our club, but he was from a club in California, and he had it was like a business card thing, and that it had Rotary People of Action, and it was basically a invite card, right? So, and it had lines like, your name and the person's name and where the club met and the time and all of that. So you could basically write out an invitation to attend a meeting and hand them to somebody. Now, you could order a bunch of those. I mean, they got them at Russell Hampton. If you wanted to order a bunch of them, just pass them out to your members. If you're the club president or even the club board, a lot of boards, the club prints business cards for them so that they can hand them out as a collateral piece where people can hand stuff out and they can kind of take them away. So here's the thing, right? Here's the last slide, and it's really about closing the deal. So this is the part that's more like the sales process. So you guys that are in sales, that the customer can say yes and all of this thing, and you're all happy because you sold this big, I don't know, jetliner. But if you don't really button up, we used to call it the button up, where you button up, tie up all the loose ends, the details, the thing isn't going to go. And so the first thing is they have to forge a relationship, a new person, with somebody or a group of people. So if you have a new person in your club, if they got to start forming relationships with people in the club, and that's the thing that actually initially makes them stick. All right. You establish a leadership role for them, get them on the board, on a committee as a head of something. you know, when I say grow the Rotary IQ, the more people know about Rotary, the history of Rotary, who Paul Harris is, how the wheel was developed, you know, when the first woman came into Rotary, all the things that Rotary done around the world. I call that your Rotary IQ, because the more a person knows about Rotary, the more they tend to be engaged. And so when you take a look at people that are at the district level, like our past district governors and our district governor elects, I mean, if you have a conversation with like Wynn, with like Nalani, with like Sandy and Naomi, the amount of information that they have to know about Rotary and what Rotary does, it's enormous. Okay, and because I have to have that information to be engaged at the level that they are at. But people that have an interest in it, and some people are just like that, they want to know about it. But if you have a club trainer, plug for club trainer, okay, that would be their job, is to make sure everybody in the club, their Rotary IQ is high, that there's always opportunity to learn stuff about Rotary. Plugging people into service, and service is a super, super key piece. Because as soon as people start seeing that, wow, you know, I'm around a group of people who are beyond just themselves. And then I got to tell you, that was one of the things that the realizations that happened to me. So the first time that we did our big fundraiser, and this is it right here, this group standing here, Hilo Huli, we do it on this little place called Coconut Island outside in Hilo Bay. And it's a fundraiser, and I think that year we had, I don't know, 1,000 people. And I saw these guys, how hard they work, really from bell to bell, from dawn all the way till it was dark out there. And what dawned on me is that everybody that was standing in this picture, they were at a point in their life where their life was beyond just themselves, where it was about doing good for their community, benefiting other people, and in that moment, it resonated so much with me. And so, you know, I said to myself, wow, you know, I want to be part of this. And then, you know, connecting their family, their friends, I mean, people that are in their little sphere of influence, the more connection that they can become as a part of this, the stronger their ties are. And then, of course, acknowledging their strength, that if they're great organizers, if they're great speakers, if they're leaders, and whatever their strengths are, you got to acknowledge that and then put it to work within the club. You know, add it into the mix of the membership of your club, and that's what makes people stick. people become Rotarians because they want to. Initially, they want to network, or they want to provide. They want to engage in service for their community. So if they're connected to the people, they stay. If they're connected to the service and what Rotary does, that they stay. If they have this aha moment that reveals to them, you know, why they want to stick with this thing, then that's the thing that cements people as Rotarians for life. And then obviously, of course, the more they know. So, okay, so that was basically it. So let me, hang on a second, let me stop sharing this thing. And we got everybody back here. Okay, so Matt, so now's the conversation. I'm going to let Nalani roll it now because, you know.
Because?
Actually, yeah, well, because, you know, Nalani knows a thing or two about membership. So, yeah, let's have the conversation. Any ideas, any thoughts about this? I mean, we've got a really unique year. The thing that I said last week, and I'm going to say it this week, and I'm going to say it next week, and the week that, and that, is that this group right here, this group is going to rewrite everything as far as Rotary goes. Because we're on the precipice now of a new, complete Rotary era that nobody's seen before. So we're going to design it and we're going to play it, and Nalani is going to tell us how to do it. So go ahead, my son.
Thank you very much, Vincent, for that. I really appreciate it. Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on this special occasion. I have some of my team members here, and they're different parts. Some is works on the new club extension. We just added a new role for our past district governor, Win Shoneman. The zone wanted a representative as an advocate for new clubs, and so he has agreed to be a part of that. And so we'll be working very closely. The idea, we have some big shoes. Our incoming governor would like to have a passport island statewide club. So, as you just heard what Benson mentioned, if you know of people who are looking at don't have the time, even though there's just 2 meetings a month, either as a uh, virtual or doing projects or social, at least it makes it a lot easier for them to go to all the clubs within the state to visit. We also have Jeff Horvath, who's our club extension chair, but he's going to have big shoes to fill of trying to get these new clubs up and running. And I know there is a club out there. I was just having a chat with Kelly out there about his employee that lives out my way. And just the way he described her sounded like she would be the most ideal. But, going out west through traffic from town, I've been there and I've done that and I know how difficult it is. So he's got my brain going as well. Okay, how can I introduce this lady to Rotary? And the first thing that came to mind was an e-club. And I was going to say, does it matter that, it's not, they're not going to join your club? Or does it matter to show the opportunity of Rotary where they can get that same interaction somewhere that meets their work schedule and still be able to enjoy the fellowship that goes with being a Rotarian? And in the line of work that Kelly and his co-worker are in, they care about the community, about the people, and I think to see the results of the effects of our Rotary family coming together and making things work, it's a wonderful feeling. And as Benson said, just tell your story, not somebody else's. Tell your story. What made you come? I mean, everybody has a story, and I'm sure some of you have heard my story. It was a condition of a position that was created that my boss said, be a Rotarian. And I said, what's Rotarian? And then I found out what it was. And so I said, oh, okay. And I went in the first 6 months to comply. But later on, I actually got to see firsthand what the people did. And it kind of made me a little embarrassed because I was not as connected as I thought it would be. And then when I changed that attitude, I said, okay, if I'm in this, I need to give all that I can and do whatever I can. For someone, I wasn't raised in Wai'i, but I live out here. And I got to know the people and see the needs out here. And that changed. And I thought, maybe I can be a role model. Hey, I'm Hawaiian. If I can do it, you can do it. If education is one thing that opens many doors. And Rotary, what it did was it opened up a new world for me. It allowed me to connect with different people from all walks of life. And as I truly got to know them and the members in my club, and they practiced the 4-way tests, and I said, okay, they're going to be fair to me. They're going to treat me well. So what do? I asked one to be my lawyer, and he is in my club. I asked one to be my accountant, and he's in my club. Then she moved. So I got another one. I have an investor. He is in my club. But do I just choose because they're in my club? No. I watch them. I look and I see what they do and how they participate and how they know. I went to them. They didn't come to me. And these are people that would never steer you wrong. They want the best for you, and we want the best. And if, as we come together as a family in Rotary, we can make that difference that can change lives. And that's the part of Rotary I really take to heart, is that all of you have made me a better person because you challenged me to go higher. Now, I will end with that. And do you know, at 5 o'clock, we just had a webinar. Connie shared the same information, pretty much of what Benson had shared, but the audience was different. We addressed 3 groups: the Rotary alumni, we addressed those who left Rotary, and we addressed those who had gone to RI, signed up to join, but never did join us. Just out of statistics, last year, this year, I mean, we're still in Eric's year, but this Rotary year, 32 people went to RI to inquire about becoming a Rotarian. Of that, we got 4 people that joined Rotary. And that's 4 people to add more. And so if each one of us did the same, brought a friend or a family member, then, we'll have more hands to work. And Benson, it's true. Members are the lifeline of a club. And without them, more hands, you don't have a chance to travel together, see the world, see your projects, see what we have and appreciate what we have compared to those less fortunate. As I have traveled, I know this year they went to Bali, I went to Thailand, and I saw firsthand. And you come back and you say, that's why I'm a Rotarian. Not for me, but to make a difference and to give back. So I leave this with somebody else. Benson, thank you for the opportunity.
All right, Nalani, thanks. So I'm looking at Kwanzaa's comment in the chat. So Kwanzaa, you said that, hey, we have many Rotarians in our community that are just sitting out there waiting to be invited. You want to make a comment about that?
Sure. So the point that I'm making, and a point that I think that I continue to make, is that I think there are people out there that just don't know that they're Rotarians yet. There's people out there who want to make a difference, right? They want to be involved in the local communities and internationally, and do networking and fellowship and all those kinds of things. And they just haven't been reached out to, right? I will tell you that for me, all it took was for Della to invite me out to lunch. Right. And as soon as I saw what we were doing, matter of fact, I think the first project that I was actually involved in is one that I'm extremely passionate about, which is where we bring the presents and Santa Claus and all that to the kids at the preschool at the shelter. Right. But I just in that moment, I got it. Like, it wasn't that, oh, like now, I did my 3 meetings and these things, I got my invite, I did all my stuff in there, and then became a Rotarian. I had been a Rotarian. I just didn't know that there was Rotary.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, Win, I wanted to give you a chance to say a few words. Win was a president, or he was a district governor my first year as president, and it was a tremendous influence on me as far as learning more about Rotary and increasing my Rotary IQ. So I'd like to give him the stage for a little bit.
Well, thank you for that, Benson.
Yeah, no problem.
I have more of a question, I think, than anything else at this point, and it kind of speaks to Kwanzaa a little bit. I mean, statistically, we know that 10% of Rotarians invite people to join Rotary. Why is that statistic so low? I mean, Iman tried Each One Reach One. I mean, many different leaders have tried a variety of I don't want to say schemes, but a lot of different processes. Why is it that we have that low invitee number, if you will? Kwanzaa, you kind of spoke to, why is it that so few people actually invite somebody to attend meetings, to join Rotary?
I'm happy to kind of take a stab, although I don't have any data to back any of this up. I could say that in my club, there really are, I would say, yeah, there's 10% of people who are very much, who do all of the sponsoring. All the new members come in through the same couple of members, three members. And then I think I think that for a lot of people, I think it's the ask. Like, they understand why it is that they're doing it. They understand what it is they get out of it, but then they're not, I feel like a lot of times members are not, I don't think they realize kind of the intrinsic value, right? So they're trying not to necessarily impose upon their friends, neighbors, contacts, because, for me, the explanation that I make is like, yes, it's great for me to be able to network with, community and business leaders and all those kinds of things, but that's not the real value. The real value is being able to work on projects and work in your community and do those things and be able to work with these people, because then, like Nalani was saying, you get to know who they actually are, right? It's not a sales meeting. You're spending time doing things with them that they care about, that you care about, and that allows you to build friendships and connections in a way that you're just not going to do, like, say, at a networking event.
Anybody else? Connie?
I really think that Benson hit it right on the nose when he said it's the culture of growth, because I think you have to have everybody invested in it and everybody engaged in membership and growth, because I think the idea of most members, I think the majority of members say, like, well, that's the president's responsibility, or that's the membership chair's responsibility. So, but what is the president and membership chair's responsibility, and the board of directors' responsibility is to grow that, to nurture that culture of growth. And you do that by being real enthusiastic, being passionate about membership, and it's just like constantly talking about it, membership. And before you know it, it becomes contagious. That feeling becomes contagious, and then everybody wants to get in on it, and everybody wants to, like, invite people, and I've seen it happen, and it does happen from a club that is kind of stagnant, that doesn't want, that it's not my responsibility, it's somebody else's, to, like, it's everyone's responsibility. So I think that's exactly right. And I think that's did you make that up yourself, Benson? Culture of growth?
Yeah, crazily. I was just,
wow.
I was just thinking that, I was trying to explain
Tony, so did I. It's right
to my board that we all have to kind of get behind this thing, or it's not going to work. And
I know I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that.
But I can't take credit for that. Somebody's already thought of. Probably stole it from somebody. So.
I don't know if this rings true for anybody else, but when I first became a Rotarian, I invited all of my friends. I invited just about everybody that I knew. I was enthusiastic and I was excited about it. And I got a couple, 3 or 4 people. My accountant became a Rotarian and that kind of stuff. And then after a while, it just kind of died, because there weren't a lot of people outside of that I was willing to go and approach, because there was a part of me that I think didn't really feel comfortable talking about Rotary. What is it that they're going to ask me and I'm not going to be able to answer? That kind of stuff. And so there was a long period of time that I just really didn't invite people to become Rotarians, until I started becoming more involved in the district and that kind of stuff, and learned a lot more. So it speaks to your point, Benson, that our knowledge level and our comfort level at what we know about Rotary is an important for, I think, everyday Rotarians when it comes to their comfort level in inviting people to come. So the club trainer, I think, would be a valuable asset to most clubs. So anyway, but and
Alan,
Alan,
to say, go ahead, Alan.
Win, why don't you finish up?
No, I was just that's I think that was, you know, what I think the lesson for me out of today's conversation is exactly that, is that the value of having a club trainer and developing our knowledge level for many of our Rotarians or all of our members is important.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Alan.
My comment about getting members is that, you know, we all belong to different associations. Real estate association, I was with the financial planner association. You hang around with the same type of people. With Rotary, we're so diverse, and so it was so refreshing to join an organization that all work together for a common cause, and they come from all different walks of life. Well, business people, but you know, they all come from different occupations, which made it fun to work together with. It made me understand their occupations a lot better, and so that's where that vocational service group comes in. But you know, you don't hang around with the same people all the time. So it was very, very refreshing to me. And today they're just lifelong friends. I've known them for 30 years now. We all hang out together. So I think that's a big selling point with Rotary in terms of getting to know different types of people and occupations.
You know, that's absolutely true, because you know, you don't really get this whole sense of diversity until you start getting you know, your club. I mean, there's your club obviously, but when you start connecting with other clubs and definitely at the district level and then at the zone level, wow! I mean, you see just the wide range and diversity of the people that are out there, and it's just pretty amazing. So I'd like to hear what some of you guys are doing in your clubs. Any ideas that you've got that maybe you want to share with us? Vanessa, what are you doing out there in Lahaina? Tell us a little bit. Talk to us.
On me. Well, I think engagement is probably the top priority. So what I've done to kind of prepare for me taking over the presidency is met with each of my board members, so I can find out what's their driver and basically, you know, why just their Rotary story, exactly what you said. So why they got into Rotary, what keeps them here, and I'm planning on doing that with the remainder of my team, because engagement is huge. And then if people like us, if they like being around us and they like what we do and they're happy, then I feel like that's just going to spread to wherever we go. So that's what I'm trying to do. Just make people happy.
Yeah. Thanks. That's great. Anybody else got any ideas, any thoughts, any challenges that you guys want to try to address? Pili, go ahead.
So what I'm trying to do with my club, so my club is very small now. We are down to 13. We're a new club though. So I'm hoping that this year we can increase our membership to 40.
Cool.
We'll see. But I think that we are trying to do is to make like an impact, because we want to attract young people, right?
Yeah.
We want to attract like a young, active people that are willing to like hands-on, let's do this project, because I want them to get the sense of having projects and have that outcome of doing something good, right? So I think that our approach for now is to tackle social media, make social media like attractive to young people, to see like, look, this is what we're doing. This is our projects that we do normally. If you are interested, just contact us and we can give you more information about our club, right? So I think that now it's kind of working. I'm not sure if it's gonna last, but we have like already like 4 leads in the past week of people who just has contact us asking for information about Rotary. So I think that if we have like a good information out there, you know, like a millennial sort of material, like a good looking, that looks cool, like a young, fresh.
Yeah,
So,
that was me like 30 years ago. Yeah.
So that's my plan. We'll see if it works.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, cool. I mean, getting it out there is really great. Jeff, you had something to say?
No.
Okay. All right, no problem. Mariko, go ahead.
Okay, at our club in Lahaina Sunset, we hold friend-raiser every year. Instead of fundraiser, it's friend-raiser.
Mm-hmm.
And so that people can bring their friends, and we explain about what the Rotary is and what we do and so on. And we also advertise about this fundraiser pretty widely in West Maui. And interesting enough, people who haven't really, who have probably heard of Rotary, but didn't really have the opportunity to get to know anybody in the club, they just show up and say, oh, this is an interesting opportunity to learn about what the Rotary Club is doing. And we got some membership, from the friend raiser. And so we will continue to do that now, because we cannot hold that in-person friend raiser anytime soon. We have to be probably even more creative. But that was, it's something that, the Rotarian may not necessarily know these people, yeah. But if we, put out the opportunity for them to come to some kind of, projects or to meetings, that may be also another venue to attract people.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we like that. Alan, you had something to add to that?
No, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
I just want to add a...
Yeah, go ahead, Kelly.
Well, so one of the things that, so Randy Soriano, who did his 2 years as president of Eco Club, has been my, East Honolulu Hui. One of the things that they do that I think is really brilliant, their board picks kind of 3 charitable organizations each year that they focus their fundraising and service activities around. And now there's been a great deal of consistency during his years who those 3 were, but they offer an honorary membership to somebody in those organizations. It may be the ED, it may be a staff person, it may be kind of an up-and-coming leader within those organizations. So I'm going to try and borrow that this year for us. It's worked very successfully. Their relationship with the LGBT Legacy Foundation and Hawaii Health and Harm Reduction, is pretty incredible. A high degree of synergy, a high degree of socially committed people, and bringing those people in, and then connecting the club, starting by connecting the club to the organizations, getting the club highly committed to those organizations, and then following it through with a membership. And, and that membership can evolve. If that honorary membership goes 2 years to the same organization, that membership may extend to a different person, giving us another opportunity to touch someone. And so I just thought it was a really interesting and unique strategy that they approached, that they've had, demonstrable success with, and I think is really smart, to kind of wed both the membership and service components so closely. So I throw that out there for anybody else to try.
Yeah, I know in our major fundraiser that we have every year, we actually decide before the fundraiser who the fundraiser is going to benefit. And then we invite those guys to help participate, in selling tickets and being a part of it. And so over the years, we've been able to get, members of Hilo Medical Foundation, Boys and Girls Club, into our club, because we help them, and then of course they come and help us, and we get to forge relationships with those guys. So, okay, hey Ted, we haven't heard anything from the outpost on Kauai here. So, you guys want to add anything? You guys got any plans, Ted or Rick, about membership this year?
Yeah, let me comment first. A year ago,
Okay.
Our club had sort of evolved into being a fundraising and check writing club. from my perspective.
Yes.
And our membership was continuing to get older and less engaged year after year. And I said to some of my colleagues, it seems to me that if this club stays on the path it is, we probably won't be feasible in another 10 years. And none of them that I said that to disagreed with me. So I looked at it and said, I can take an approach of trying to shake up and change this club and help it position for the future, or I can let this club stay on the path that it's on and go try to start a different club. And I took the harder path, which was try to get people to see some opportunities for change. So we made our meetings more flexible. We changed so we weren't always having a breakfast meeting, but once a month we were having a pauhana. We did a lot more on social media, and I tried to make us look a lot more hip and fun on social media than we probably were. And I said, we've got to find a better balance between actually being of service and writing checks. Because as Rotarians, what grabs our heart isn't handing that check to the executive director of some nonprofit. What grabs our heart is interacting with people and you know, providing them with a food distribution or helping them paint a facility that they meet in every week, and working with the kids, handing them dictionaries. That's what makes a Rotarian have a connection to this organization and being in this organization for the long term. So I also set with our club that we were going to have one service project every month. And we did that for about 8 months straight. And then we did turn our attention to fundraising. And when we started that, we had maybe 6 people typically show up for that monthly service project. But I said, I'm just going to keep doing it. Yeah. And sure enough, after a year, we had some new younger people come and express interest because we were out in the community. We were showing them what we could do. We were inviting them to come and join us. And so at the beginning of this year, as Rick took over as president, he was able to add 8 new members to our club. And most of those members are under the age of 50, which in our club is a big deal.
Wow, that's great. Wow.
The other thing that is planned for next year now, like Ted said, we had sort of become this check writing club, and we didn't get to do our major fundraiser this year. So we can't do that next year. So I'm viewing this as a chance to really shift the focus of the club. Instead of being the first bank of Rotary, I'm looking at being a service organization. And we're looking to engage with a couple different projects around the island. And there's one where they're building housing for the homeless. And I've already gotten in touch with the housing director here. And I plan to get other clubs involved, other Rotary clubs involved too. Because I think that's the way we can really make an impact. And then it's service as opposed to, hey, here's a check.
Wow, that's great. You know, I've always felt like this for a while, is that your club engagement is dictated very much by whoever the community service chair is. And the community service chair has to be somebody, Ted, who will be relentless in putting out these opportunities to serve, whether or not anybody comes or not, because ultimately it will build, it will gain momentum. So thank God, Ted, that you could see that, well, eventually this thing will, you know, it'll make some traction, and it did. So so one of the things that I self-appointed myself when I finished my my term here as president in 9 days, but you know, nobody's really counting that, is that I'm going to be the community service chair, because I think that'll help our club to become more engaged. So whoever your community service chair is in your club, get behind that person and encourage them like Ted did. Just do something every month, even if it's a small thing. Because when you talk about getting people engaged, it really is having that moment out there where you're handing somebody some food, or even if you're just picking up garbage or painting somebody's house. That's the thing that people identify with emotionally, right? And the people that are in long-term in Rotary, and there's a bunch of them on this screen right now. They had an emotional experience with Rotary that flipped their perception about it, solidified it, so that it won't ever change. So hey, we're at the 8 o'clock hour, folks. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I did record this thing, and then several of you guys wanted to get the PowerPoint presentation, which I'm happy to send to you. Just put your email out there, and I'll send it out actually right after the meeting to anybody that puts their email in there. And keep those questions coming. And Peely, I did want to tell you that one of the things that I think that you should do is you should go all over the district, and you can start with my club and come to my club and speak a little bit about what you guys are doing and your plans for expansion, because even in Hilo, a lot of us are connected to people in Honolulu, young people like yourself. There's people in our club that have sons, daughters that are your age that they would love to be involved in something like what you're doing. I would also like to say that, Jeff invited me to speak over at their club. So yeah, anytime you need a speaker, if I'm available, I will come and do it, man, whatever it is. So I appreciate you guys. And like I said, every Monday, every week, I'm really enthused to see this group, because this group is going to be the one that's going to rewrite what Rotary is going to be going forward. So other than that, that's our adios for tonight, unless anybody has anything to say. Naomi does, because she's not just waving goodbye, she's giving me the signal that it's time for Naomi's roundup. Okay, go ahead, Naomi.
Yeah, sorry, it's 8:03 already, but I wanted to say that you guys had a lot of great ideas, a lot of questions, and I want to challenge you to do that strategic plan, that Vibrant Club workshop, and think about these things that you want to do. You want to grow, you want to bring in members, and you want to bring in members that are Rotarians, like Kwanzaa said, right? So how do you do that in Kwanzaa? And, we talked about not calling it a sales technique, but if you're in sales, especially when we're in the bank and we're told, we need to bring in kind customers, we want good customers, we want quality customers, right, Nalani? And so what kind of customer do you want? So you go and you look, you kind of brainstorm, analyze your community. What kind of people do you want in your club that are going to help you with your projects, to make a good foundation for your board, and then go in and introduce them to Rotary, because you guys have a really good story to tell about what Rotary is, and we don't need to be ashamed of what Rotary is, because we are doing so much good in the world that people want to join us. We just need to get the word out, right, Kwanzaa? We just got to ask. But look for those kinds of people that are going to round out your club, that are going to make good Rotarians, and then come up with a plan. So you identify, you go after them, and when we're in sales, you got to hook them in, right? You got to make the pitch. So make the pitch. We're in the business of Rotary. Make the pitch and get them in, and then what? You want them to be good customers. So it's all that retention stuff. How do you keep them as good clients? Annalena, I know you've got some things to say.
No, just very quickly, because we're over time already, but piggybacking on what you're saying, I think when we go out and look in the community, we all know people, we meet people at work and privately. It's good to remember that we're looking for different things, right? It's not just a one-size-fits-all, but time, treasure, and talent. People have different things to give. Some people have the big pocketbooks. Some people are available to help with every single project. People have all kinds of talents. So people can contribute in different ways. And I think that's important to remember.
Yep. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're good? All right, everybody. Aloha. All right, see you guys later. Let me stop the recording here.